Hello, 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 and welcome to the $1 Million Electrician Podcast, where we help home service pros like you supercharge your business and spark up those sales.
I'm Joseph Lucani, and together with my co-host Clay Newmeyer, we're here to share the secrets that have helped electricians sell over $1 million from a single service van.
Now it's time for sales. It's time for scale. It's time to become $1 million electrician. Hello, guys. Welcome back to another episode of the $1 Million Electrician Podcast. We cannot wait to bring you another great episode. In fact, today, this is very important. Joe's going through some pains right now as a consumer. And so we wanted to remind you guys not to make assumptions about how your customers want to buy. Joe, how are you doing, brother? Why don't you open us up into this one?
Man, this is a fun situation because being able to speak to something that I'm actually going through as a customer, it just feels really weird being on the other side of the line, you know? So I'm going to do my best to kind of be as impartial as possible. So the situation is, and I'm going to start with the topic, your customers actually want to buy. They want to be sold. They want to have the solutions given to them. And I'm saying that because I've literally lived it in my own personal experience at this point. So when I first moved into my property, we planted a buttload of trees. I think it started with being 30 to start with in the first year. So we love trees. We love our property. We want to make sure it's developed. Over the course of years, between drought, pests, insects, and tree disease, we've lost more than half of all the trees in our property.
Man, I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's pretty rough. So the thing is that last year we started doing something about it. We're like, you know what? I'm going to get in touch with an arborist. And it took about a few weeks to actually get someone to show up. And I remember finally saying, you know what? I'll pay him what he's asking for. Let's get it done. And then we paid him half the deposit. And then he did 3/4 of the work and he never came back. He just never came back. No call, no show, nothing. Didn't want the money, nothing. So I had a project that was 3/4 completed. I had to finish myself. The following year, this year, I'm in a situation where trees are still dying and we're planting more every year. They're just dying consistently. So I called one arborist. The arborist vetted him out. I looked for all the service people, high reviews, all that good stuff. Guy comes back and doesn't show up.
Where's my sound effects? Wah, wah, wah. No show.
Literally no show. First guy, no show. No call, no show. Second person comes, shows up, really nice, lettered van, the whole 9 yards. Tells me, a couple of things. I say, this is what I'd love. I love solutions. I want to make this happen. I'm looking to get this taken care of. If you could just show me these solutions, I'm happy to do something with it. No problem. I'll email you. If you come back, I'm telling you right now, you'll be more likely to close this. I want to do this job. If you even give me a number today, I'll do this. I'll send you an email. Don't worry about it. Sends me an email for the wrong items, not even the things I've asked for. I call him and ask him to come back. No call, no show. Ghost on the second presentation.
Okay, so he emails it over, emails you the wrong things, and then another ghost?
And then another ghost, yeah. And then three days later, his company reaches out and says, hey, we're just curious if you wanted to move forward with the quote. I'm like, well, I would have wanted to, but your technician never came. Like, he never came by, and the things he sent was incorrect. And they're like, all right, well, we'll bring this to his attention. Thanks, and I hope you're in the best whenever you're doing. Like, okay, great, awesome.
There's this thing that comes to mind, and I'm going to try not to go off the deep end here, but service is really a consultative approach. You got to at least ask some questions and understand your customer, don't you?
Yeah. I mean, it's not the what, it's the why. I want to have my property beautiful because my family is beautiful and I think they deserve to live in a beautiful place. That's my why. It has nothing to do with the property itself. So emotionally, I'm primed to buy. I got the card ready to swipe. I'm ready to do it. But they literally, I can't get someone to come they won't take my money. So I'm on my fourth guy at this point, I believe, where ideally he came once the first time. He said he was going to email me, and I said, absolutely not. I was like, I want to do this job. I cannot stress this enough. If you come back, you're likely walking out with something. He scheduled a presentation. And then no confirmation. I had to call and they said, oh, actually, it's Good Friday. Unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to be available that day. Asked when he could reschedule, didn't get back to me. Followed up again. He's like, I'll get back to you. We could do it on Thursday. I'll come to your house on Thursday. So here I am, fingers crossed that this person will take my money. And here's the wrap up of all of this. Here's why this matters. It's not just me taking the platform and complaining. I'm trying to establish that your customers want to do these jobs. The spring is here. The tax money is here. And as a result, people want to make the investments. And though you may seem or to perceive that they are budget shopping, like I may have communicated to some of these people, they're not. They actually do want to buy. And if someone were to have followed a proper sales process, taken control of the situation, sat me down at the kitchen table, the trees would have already been in because I would have bought. But instead, I got ghosted on a couple of different people. And now I'm post-season doing my best to catch up.
This reminds me of my Facebook post today where I said that, sales, poor sales, not having enough sales, not having enough revenue, that's just a symptom. That's not the problem. It's a symptom of a problem. It's what we focus on so much here on this podcast. And I don't want to leave you guys thinking that this is just a stitch and bitch episode where we're just going to nail down some arborists who are not serving Joe at the highest level. We've done that and we could continue to do that every week if we wanted. But I want to leave you guys with some value from this. So we're going to go even deeper on why this stuff's important. 3 sins that are committed between these 3 different providers that have still not served Joseph. And as you can tell, he just said magic words. I would have paid already. This would have been done already if someone would have served me in a way that I want to be served. You start to see how important these options are. I really want to go deep on this, but Joe, why don't we fit in a win of the week here if we can?
Oh, yeah. No, I actually have a great one. So I was looking at our client, John, who is new to our team, and we're really, really glad to have him. He was in a competitive quote situation where the customer wanted a service upgrade. And it was one of his first times offering options. He was really excited about it. He went through it. And the customer's like, yeah, we really like you, but this is a competitive situation. So we're gonna get some other quotes. He's like, okay, no problem. And before he ended up doing, he was like, oh, by the way, and that by the way moment was, what if I could tell you that we were able to provide this at a payment option for 24 months at 0%? What would happen then? And they were like, oh, well, if you could just do this for that, then we would just do it. And he ended up walking away with a $9,500 sale. So the win is not the ticket, which is already phenomenal. The win is that this is a competitive quote situation where they just told him to his face, we're going to get more quotes. But the fact that he can make it easy, just like how it was with me, if they can make it easy, the people will pay and they will be happy to do so.
Yeah, he found a way to serve them in the way that they wanted to be served. And I'd be lying if I myself hadn't just taken advantage of a similar thing, 24 months, no interest. You have to be insane not to take that deal. It makes buying so easy when I can sit there and just say, well, 10,000 divided by 24 months. That hurts a lot less than 10,000 today. In fact, I don't need to leverage my credit card, pay any interest at all. We could just pay this off in 2 years, just shy of, without any repercussions. That's huge. Congratulations to John. Great win, Joe. I was going to go into one, but I don't even want to take from John's because it fits so well with the topic today. That fair?
Yeah, totally down. That's why I picked it off the top of my mind.
Yeah, I love that one, man. I love that. So we talked about a few sins. I really want to go into this. There's something that we follow. It's actually from Alex Hormozy originally. We use a very similar model in just reflecting on what drives value for people. There's 4 main categories in this, 2 on the top that we're trying to increase. First being dream outcome. Joe wanted tree work done. He knows he has a vision in his mind. His service provider should understand that there's a vision in anyone who calls mind. And your job is to try to understand that vision and then make it even greater and provide a list of solutions for what that vision could be so that they can choose. Would you agree with that first part, Joe?
100%. And that's the craziest thing, that like I have a number in my mind that I'm willing to do. But if he mentioned things like, oh, well, because you're planning on doing this in the future, Why don't we make a long-term play and plant more here or do a landscape effect because you're tuning? I'd do it. That's the crazy thing, is that I'd swipe it.
I hope your arborist listens to this podcast because we're about to unlock their business. The
Pretty
second
much.
category that we want to rise up is probability of success, likelihood of success. And there's a couple ways that you can increase that. One is just through reputation and even sharing other stories that went well. But another big one could be guarantees. What if this arborist not only listed dream options for you, Joe, things that you would really love to have, but also had a guarantee to come back next spring and make sure those trees took and were healthy and sound?
That's crazy that you bring that up, because I literally had to ask him to include a maintenance agreement. Because he kept saying, when you do this and when you, I'm like, no, 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 no. You're going to do everything. I want to give you money. I want you to do the things. And he's like, oh, okay. I mean, if you want. It's like, just do the thing, please.
Guys, this is so simple. It's all about your service. Again, sales are a symptom, and I guarantee these arborists you reached out to are feeling some sales pains for the way that they're serving. On the bottom side of the equation, there's just two things. One's time delay. You've definitely felt that, and effort and sacrifice. So when someone doesn't show up when you made an appointment, time is delayed. You now look at, oh, I have to go back and find other providers, right?
Yeah, the issue is I was having my wife watch my kids while I'm waiting for this phone call at my computer with this quote up, because he said exactly at this time he was going to call. And I had to take time away in the evening to research and vet and call back.
Yeah, and you just spoke to the effort and sacrifice. And now you're taking additional efforts.
Mm-hmm.
Even on the next one, you started to say how, well, they email it over, they got it wrong. So, wrong dream outcome. When they
Mm-hmm.
get it wrong, what happens to your confidence in the probability of success?
Yeah, it's
Wah,
just completely
wah,
down. Like,
wah.
even if they were reasonable, even though they were good, because they didn't listen to me, they didn't offer me what I asked them to offer. It was super clear. It's, if you can't perform service when you're trying to take my money, how will you possibly be vetted to perform service when it's time for you to actually do a warranty call or something along, when it's come to physically do the work after I've paid you? If you won't even take it, like, what does that say for the future? I don't have any confidence in this person now.
Yep, absolutely. And then the lack of communication, the email it over. Emails kind of become like snail mail. Anyone else
Mm-hmm.
notice that? I actually don't trust email to deliver a message at the speed that I would like 99% of the time.
Mm-hmm.
I know from personal experience, there are messages in my inbox that don't get answered to in the time that others would like. That's how I have this projection in the first place.
Mm-hmm.
It's really become the snail mail of 2025, hasn't it?
Yeah, I literally had to add it to my KPI that I have to check all my emails at least once a day, because it's one of those things where I'm like, there's nothing valuable in there. That's not where connections are made. That's not where relationships are made. And if I'm not making relationships, what's the point?
Yep. Yeah, man. So this is huge. We just started to go into this, guys. That's how it relates to the value driver equation. You could tune your own business up just by troubleshooting in this regard alone. Saying, how am I communicating to my customers? Is it at regular intervals? Am I serving them in a way that they would want to be served? Do I know how they'd want to be served? Full circle back. Am I harboring assumptions about how every one of my customers buys based on how I buy, based on how I've been treated? And I'm just doing the copycat game. And I bet you that's a way to put your business to bed early, Joe.
Mm-hmm. I was literally just thinking about this the other day. Imagine what a service company would be like if they understood the difference between a concierge and a servant. If you could be a white glove experience and provide that level of anticipation of your customers' needs compared to waiting to be told what to do, it'd be a complete night and day expectation outcome.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a really good way to look at it. Here's something that I want to drive home on this episode if I can.
By
I
all
don't want to
means.
steal your thunder because this is actually Joe's topic. He's the one that's already lit up about this and probably exhausted even talking about it. Not knowing what your customers are thinking is a dangerous, dangerous game to play.
Mm-hmm.
The only way you don't know is if you don't ask.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't follow a consistent process that includes asking your customers about their experience, about how they've been served in the past, about where the past service let them down, and about how they like to be served. The options framework that we use and we teach begins to help with a lot of that. And we've heard of, sales programs of different people going through like the disc profiles. Joe, you familiar
Mhm.
with those? Or like
Yeah,
what
yeah, pretty much
character
the
am I
box.
serving?
Yeah, it's like the boxes of characters that you could pull out on a particular call.
And that can be useful. But there's
Mhm.
a simpler way to do this is to lay out options for every character type and allow them to choose what type of person they are and how much they appreciated your service.
There's
Go
one thing I
ahead.
want to add with that, and that is people are different people in different categories of their life. And I think we can tie it all together with this particular thing. So, like, here's an example. I am willing to be very open ended or very, very open handed with my finances for my family. Of course, not to make it happen. I want the best for them in those capacities.
Yep.
But every electrician knows that it's your house that's the one that has the issues in it. And it's when you call someone to repair something, you know that you're going to have the leaky sink, or you know you're going to have the electric's a little weird because you're okay with that. So where some people are willing to put a ton of money, they may not be willing to put others. And some people may say, well, you know what? It should be the other way around. Fix the things that doesn't work that way.
Mm-hmm.
Certain people will have their preferences, and it's not our decision to shame them for it or say that's not appropriate. It's simply our response and requirement to understand and to connect them to an emotional solution.
Absolutely. People will just go quiet. Like you're outspoken about it. You'll grab someone basically by the hand and show them a better way to serve and teach them. That's not my experience, even for myself or with most others. I'll bite my tongue and just be quiet and just let you suffer. And that could go for years. How many of your customers aren't leaving reviews? And are you sure they had a great experience?
Mm-mm.
You know what, Joe? You want to do something fun?
Let's do it. I'm all down.
Let's make this the most valuable arborist podcast we've ever done. Let's
Okay,
just
I'm down.
icing on the cake. Let's come up with 6 different options together. I've got
I
a
can do it
couple
right now if
ideas.
you want.
Okay, for arborists to improve their service, man. If you don't
Okay.
mind going one by one, if you steal the words out of my mouth, I'll let you have 2 in a row. Let's do it.
Okay. All right. So the situation, if I were going to construct options as an arborist, the very minimum would be doing the thing that the customer asked you to do.
Yeah.
So for me, it would be the very most bare minimum is let's treat the trees that are currently damaged. Let's make sure we do a basic tree cleaning, one service agreement. That's all you're going to get. That would be your bottom option. It's what I've asked for. It's all it is. And you're not above and beyond or below. You're just there.
All right.
Above that, you'd have that same service. Here's the thing you've asked for, but what could I do to enhance it in any way? Meaning, I'm not going to plant new things, but I may have a suggestion that can do this thing better. Granted, I'm not a tree guy, so I don't know these things, but my suggestion would be there's some sort of treatment they can apply that would be a better grade of treatment, right? Instead of having what is it? The Snickle Fritz version of the fertilizer, I want the good one, right? So,
Yeah.
okay, so that's the next level up, a better level of treatment. And then that level, I would then also include a service agreement. Here's 1 year where I'm going to come back for the next year. Then above that, I could say, all right, well, what's the biggest emotional pain? For me, the biggest emotional pain is half these trees are dead and it's on one particular side. So I'd say, why don't we plant the minimal amount of trees to provide the coverage you're looking for? You, the customer, buy the trees. Once they're delivered, we'll basically put them in for you.
Mm-hmm.
Then I can see going above that and saying, you know what? Let's buy the trees for you and we'll fill in more spaces. Then I can see going above that and saying, now we're doing more trees. Let's also mulch them so that you can make sure it's on a better bed. And we're going to add additional year of maintenance agreement on top of this. And what are we at 5 at this point? So then the top option there would then be saying, okay, what future projects did you want to do? Like, hey, Joe, I know you're planting a fruit garden and you want multiple flowering trees on your property. You mentioned that for the future. Since we're already doing the back of your property, why don't we plant some slow growth trees in the front so that you have a few years ahead of schedule and it's going to be exactly what you want. So when you're ready, they'll be there. So top option is all new trees where I want them to complete any gaps, hit them with the steroids. I want them the best fertilizer I possibly can, the best growth methods that can be there, all pesticides applied, gaps cleaned, everything mulched, new trees, ongoing maintenance agreement. And if they had a membership like a first class pass, I'd take it.
Because you didn't let me in on that, I'm going to jump on top and add a couple of things that I think you could add even more value.
All right, do it.
You took landscaping and perimeter, essentially, with the mulch. I love that. I think that's huge, because where I'm looking at this is I also want to teach my team great photography skills, or hire a photographer to take a picture of this great work we did. And the last thing I want my photos to reflect is great trees with shitty perimeter or landscaping around it without that mulch. I would throw in a lawn mow, and I would mow that lawn like they've never had their lawn mowed before. I'm not talking just a perimeter maze to the inside.
You're talking like a baseball field
with the
edging
diamond
kind of
hash,
thing.
everything perfect, right? Fresh watered lawn for them. That's my photography moment. While I'm up, if I did any pruning or trimming of existing trees while I'm up there, I would also take a gander at the roof if it was close by, and include my strategic alliance, the roofer, in those photos, and as an option to have a roofer come and do any of the found issues that were very obvious. And of course, no service could be complete in yard work without at least looking in the gutters for this homeowner. Who wants to clean their own gutters, Joe?
It's literally on my list that I have to install gutter guards, because I had to get on a 40-foot ladder to get to the top. And I'm like, I do not want to go on this ladder ever again.
There you go. My platinum option included gutter guards, not because I want to work on gutters, but because I don't want my customer to have to. That's the difference, isn't it?
It's amazing. Here I am crushing out 6 options for trees off the cuff, and you have the options even better and on top of it. I love it. I absolutely love it.
That was a lot of fun. I think if nothing else, it's a good reference. Sometimes what can help electricians most is to get away from the electron flow for a minute and just look at the bigger picture. If there's anything distracting you guys from premium service in your company, it's probably just the level of intent on just quality of work that you're providing. And the work itself is important. No one says it isn't. It's just that you've been working on that quality for so long. We just got to challenge you and say, is it time to start working on the quality of your service too?
That's amazing. I'm with you there.
All right. Anything else to add today, Joe?
Other than I just want to put out to the arborists in the future who are listening, that please show up and take my money. Just please, I want to buy so badly.
I have a feeling you're going to have a list of electricians at your house ready to trim some trees for you.
You know what? If this guy doesn't show, I'll hire an electrician to do it at this point.
Awesome. Thank you for joining us, guys. It is currently April 23rd. Please, please, please leave a review where you heard us first. Share this episode with a friend, especially an arborist, if you know that they could use some customer service feedback or suggestions from yours truly. But also, April 23rd means there's just 1 week left to take advantage of our free price course. It's not free in the sense of you can get this forever. It's free in the sense of this is exactly what our clients take to troubleshoot their sales, their revenue, to make sure there's more money at the end of the month than month at the end of the money. Again, using the exact tailored process that our clients use. And you could use that too, free only for another week, guys. How do you get it? By reaching out either by our website, email, Facebook group, anywhere that you're following us on social media, or even where this podcast is, and just saying price or price course, and we'll get that sent over to you. Thank you guys for joining us. Cheers to your success. We'll see you again next week.
Can't wait to see you. May you be blessed.
And that's a wrap for today's episode of the $1 Million Electrician Podcast.
We hope you're buzzing with new ideas that charged up to take your business to the next level.
So don't forget to subscribe, leave a review, and share the show with fellow electricians. Together, we'll keep the current flowing.